Hello, everybody. Welcome to Live Interactive English. I am Shane.
And I'm Karen. Today we are looking at part one of the Magical Nation of Norway.
Magical.
That's right. Well, when I think of the country Norway, I think of Vikings.
Oh, okay.
Right? Isn't that the first thing that you would think of? I mean, I don't know too much about the country, but...
Yeah, that's what does come to mind. And we're talking about Norway now. We've already talked about Sweden. We've talked about Iceland. We've been talking...
Finland.
Yeah, so we get to finally learn a little something about Norway. Do you know anything about Norway?
Okay, to be honest, I had to Google some interesting facts about Norway. So I kind of just learned, like 5 minutes ago.
I Googled too. Tell me what you learned.
Okay. In Norway, they have the longest road tunnel in the world.
Ooh, wow.
That's pretty amazing.
There's actually a pretty long road tunnel here in Taipei going to Ilan, right?
That's right.
That's a really long tunnel.
That's a really long one too, but I think the one in Norway is a little bit longer.
Okay.
I have another interesting one. Did you know? Okay, this one really surprised me.
Okay.
Did you know that Norway introduced salmon sushi to Japan?
What?
Sushi and sashimi has always been a Japanese thing, right? But actually, using salmon as sushi or sashimi was actually suggested to Japan by Norway.
That is my favorite kind of sushi.
Same here.
I love salmon. It's so weird to think that wasn't originally in sushi in Japan.
Isn't it amazing? So we already learned a lot of interesting things about Norway, and I can't wait to learn more.
Me neither. Let's get going.
All right.
As the most northern country in Europe, Norway, as well as its culture, is tied to the Arctic Ocean. During the 8th century, Norse sailors built settlements all over northern Europe. In fact, many Norwegians trace their history back to the Viking Age, AD 793 to 1066. According to tradition, Norway's first king was a Viking named Harald Fairhair, who unified the country in AD 872.
All right, well, let's get into this. The Magical Nation of Norway, part one.
That's right.
What's magical mean?
Well, usually when you say something is magical, it will be something that is related to magic, right? Something maybe that's not real. But you can also describe something really, really pleasant, something really wonderful as magical, right?
Yes.
So for example, Dave planned a magical evening for his girlfriend's birthday. So that means he planned a really wonderful evening. Maybe he had roses and he had a live band playing, or
romantic.
he got, the girlfriend a really, really beautiful gift, right?
It sounds a little bit like you're fantasizing that this will happen to you. Has that ever happened to you?
No.
No. That's so sad.
But that would be a magical evening.
Okay, continuing. As the most northern country in Europe, Norway, as well as its culture, is tied to the Arctic Ocean.
So we know we have so many different oceans around the world, right?
Yes.
And the Arctic Ocean is right up there, so we know that it's probably very, very cold.
Super cold up there. During the 8th century, Norse sailors built settlements all over northern Europe.
So what does it mean by Norse sailors?
So Norse sailors, so Norse just referring to all the ancient Scandinavian countries.
Okay, so the sailors, they built settlements all over northern Europe. So building settlements means like building a place for them to live, to settle down.
Right, yeah, to settle somewhere just means that you're going to start living there and basically build a society.
Exactly. Okay, well, let's continue. In fact, many Norwegians trace their history back to the Viking Age, AD 793 to 1066.
Okay, so wow, that's so cool. That's when we do think of the Vikings. Like there's I sometimes think they're like fictional, like they didn't really exist. It's so cool that there actually were Vikings.
Exactly. But then we say that the Norwegians trace their history, back to the Viking age. What does it mean by trace their history?
Yeah, so to trace is to discover something by investigation.
Ooh, okay.
Right? So if you investigate to kind of find out where they came from, you can kind of trace back and you can see where they came from originally. Our example sentence, Andrea traced her family history back to the 18th century.
That's kind of interesting. I have never done that. Have you ever traced your family history?
Actually, I have.
Okay.
And I found out that, mostly just came from Europe. I'll also have some Native American blood in me as well.
Really?
Yeah, but mostly it was Europe, and my last name is Rendelman. And what this actually means is reindeer man. I forget which language.
That's so cute.
I think in like Swedish or something like that. So one of my ancestors actually used to raise reindeer.
Really? And
for Santa Claus.
That is so cool.
So cool, right?
Yes, that's very, very cute. Okay, let's continue.
Okay. According to tradition, Norway's first king was a Viking named Harald Fairhair, who unified the country in AD 872.
Oh, okay. So they had a king a long, long, long time ago who unified the country. So what does it mean by to unify the country? To bring everybody all together?
All together into one. Because like uni means one, right? So to unify means to bring a bunch of people together to form one big group of people.
Okay, well, a lot of interesting history about Norway, right?
Yeah, and Vikings. So cool.
How about let's take a short break and we'll be back to learn more.
Okay.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这一次要介绍旅游地点是 Norway， 挪威。标题用到 magical 来描述这个美妙的国度，那么 magical 就是形容奇妙的、神奇的、产生魔力的。例句写到说 ，Dave 为了女友的生日筹划一个迷人的夜晚。那么在 Karen 老师的想象中 ，Dave 可能有送花、送礼物，搞不好还有请乐手来现场演奏等等。我们补充一下，你要表达想象、幻想，可以用到这个单字叫做 fantasize。Fantasize 就是想象、幻想。再来，课文一开始他写到说，作为欧洲最北边的国家，挪威及其文化与北极海是紧密相关的。在8世纪呢，古斯堪的纳维亚的水手在北欧各地建立了定居点。而事实上，许多挪威人的历史可以追溯到维京时代。根据传说啊，挪威的第一位国王是一个名叫金法哈拉尔的维京人，他在西元872年统一了这个国家。来看单字 trace， 它就表示追溯或者是追查什么什么的来源。Shane 老师讲解的时候，他用到 investigation， 就是 investigate 后面这个 e 去掉再加 ion 变成一个这个名词，它表示调查或是侦查的意思。那补充一下，文中说到这个 Norwegian， 它可以当名词表达挪威人、挪威语，也可以当形容词来形容挪威的、挪威人的、挪威语的。再来还有用到 Norse 这个形容词，它是形容这个中世纪斯堪的纳维亚的。Shane 老师说的 Scandinavian 则是形容斯堪的纳维亚的。那这边2个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 as 的常见用法。第一种，我们可以用 as 来当介系词去表达作为什么、当做什么，像是 Emily's grandpa bought her a dollhouse as a birthday present。Emily 的祖父买了娃娃屋给她当做生日礼物。那么第二个，我们可以用 as 来当连接词，去指说当什么什么的时候，后面是接子句哦。举例来说 ，Her phone rang as she walked up the stairs。当她走上楼梯时，手机响了。再来，我们看到的是 as well as 的用法。首先 as well as 它可以当连接词去表达以及还有，用来连接词性相同的字词，像是 The tour was entertaining as well as educational。这趟游览呢有趣又具有教育意义。那特别注意的是 A as well as B 来当主词的话，这个动词是要搭配 A 来做变化，我们要记得 A 是主角哦。来看这个例句 ，The teacher as well as her students 空格 looking forward to the field trip。老师以及他的学生都很期待校外教学。那这时候我们到底要填入 is 还是 are 呢？虽然听起来老师加上学生好多人哦，可是这个句子是在强调 as well as 前方的主词 the teacher， 所以呢 be 动词要用 is。好，再来看到 as well as， 它可以当介系词去表达除了点点点之外，那么后面是要接名词或动名词。举例来说 ，as well as being an actress, she's also a yoga instructor。她除了是一名演员，还是一名瑜伽老师。好，那接回到课文中。
However, for much of its history, Norway was not an independent nation. From 1536 to 1814, Denmark and Norway were a single kingdom. In 1814, control of Norway was passed to Sweden following a war. Later that year, Norway declared its independence on May 17th, but no foreign powers recognized Norwegian independence until 1905. Still, even today, Norway celebrates its National Day on May 17th. Norway's most beautiful sights owe much to the geography of the Arctic region. Norway's western coast is filled with impressive fjords left over from glaciers. The country's many mountains tower above brightly colored fishing villages. And when skies are clear, these features are lit up by the northern lights above.
Welcome back. So we were talking about Norway, and we found out that Norwegians, we were finding out some of their history, and actually they're all kind of related to Vikings, which I think is really cool.
That's right. And I guess we'll be learning more interesting facts and about the history of Norway.
Okay.
Let's continue. However, for much of its history, Norway was not an independent nation. Nation just means country.
Yeah,
okay.
So if you're independent, that means that you're kind of free and not governed by anybody else. You kind of govern yourself, right?
Exactly. So from 1536 to 1814, Denmark and Norway were a single kingdom. I didn't know that. Wow, so a long, long time ago. So Denmark and Norway were actually a single kingdom. They were not different nations, different countries.
Right, so a kingdom is a country or region or area that is controlled by a king. So for example, you can say the queen did not think her son was ready to rule the kingdom. So okay, that's pretty interesting that they weren't separate countries. They're actually just one area, just one kingdom.
That's right. So I guess they became independent nations afterwards, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's continue. In 1814, control of Norway was passed to Sweden following a war.
Oh, there was a war.
Yeah, so if they say it was passed to Sweden, it kind of means Sweden took control, right? Later that year, Norway declared its independence on May 17th, but no foreign powers recognized Norwegian independence until 1905.
But what does it mean by they declared their independence? They're telling everybody that, hey everyone, now we are an independent nation, right?
So to declare just means to announce, to
That's
say
right.
We are independent. But nobody recognized them actually until 1905.
Exactly.
So it took a while.
Still, even today, Norway celebrates its National Day on May 17th. Okay.
So that's when they declared it, so that's when it counts.
That's right. And we have this vocabulary word here, to recognize, and that is a verb. And that basically means to acknowledge the existence of something.
Right.
So for example, Mother's Day wasn't recognized as a holiday in the United States until 1914. So before that, it wasn't acknowledged. You know, people didn't think that, Mother's Day existed.
Yeah, so even though some people might have talked about it, it wasn't really like legitimate, and people didn't really think, okay, Mother's Day is a real thing. It's not an actual holiday, right? Okay, so that's the problem with Norway is that they said, hey, we are independent. But the other countries like, well, we don't really think that's true. It wasn't really legitimized. They didn't really think you exist as a separate country.
That's right.
Okay, Norway's most beautiful sites owe much to the geography of the Arctic region.
What does it mean by geography?
Okay, so geography is basically geo and graphy. So geo means earth, right? And you can sometimes think of the land.
Okay.
And graphy is kind of like if you were to draw like a map or something. So we're kind of looking at what the land looks like. So what kind of natural features are there? It could be like lakes, mountains,
Rivers.
So yeah, like when you're kind of looking on a map, what do you see? What land features do they have? So for example here, Daniel is not familiar with the geography of Taiwan. So if you were to come to Taiwan, you'd find the geography is actually quite mountainous, right?
That's right. We have a lot of mountains, right? Okay, let's continue. Norway's western coast is filled with impressive fjords left over from glaciers.
Fjords are really cool.
What are they?
They're basically kind of like a sea or river that's kind of like an inlet, and you can see really steep kind of like mountains on each side of it. So it's really cool looking. It kind of reminds me of when you go to the Grand Canyon and you kind of see like a river in there, but these are even cooler.
Okay. The country's many mountains tower above brightly colored fishing villages. So they even have like a really colored fishing villages. I think it'll be really, really cute to look at or take pictures of, right?
Yeah, because you can imagine next to these fjords, that's what they're going to make their living doing, and that's their food source is going to be fishing. So they have all these little fishing villages along these fjords, and then there's huge mountains on the side.
I know, and they're colorful as well.
Yeah.
And when skies are clear, these features are lit up by the northern lights above.
Oh my goodness, this sounds like a place you really want to go visit.
It sounds like a paradise, you know?
Yeah, so picturesque.
Exactly. Okay, well, you know, we learned quite a lot of interesting things about Norway today, including the history of it and also beautiful, you know, landscape and geography, right?
Yeah, but that's all the time we have for today, but we are going to learn more about Norway next time.
I'll see you next time.
See you then.
谈到挪威的历史，在大部分时间里，它并不是一个独立的国家。从1536年到1814年，丹麦和挪威是一个单一王国。那么在1814年呢，挪威的控制权在一场战争之后移交给瑞典。而在那一年呢，挪威后来有宣布独立，可是一直要到1905年，外国列强才承认挪威独立。好，单字 kingdom 它表示王国，是个名词。那么 recognize 它表示承认啊，正式认可或者是认出，是个动词。Karen 老师在讲解单字时用到 acknowledge， 就是在 knowledge 前面加上 ac， 得到这个动词就表示承认、认可。Shane 老师则用到这个 legitimate 这个形容词，它是拼作 legitimate，legitimate 它是形容合法的、正当的。当我们把字尾的 ate 改成 ize，legitimize 则是表达使合法、使合理的意思。课文最后写到，挪威最美的景色在很大程度上是要归功于北极地区的地理环境。它的西海岸到处都是冰川所留下的令人赞叹的峡湾。那你可以看到许多山脉高耸在那些色彩鲜明的渔村上方。当天空晴朗的时候啊，这些景观呢就会被上方的北极光照亮，非常美。老师用到 picturesque 来描述这个景色，就是在 picture 后面加上 sque，picturesque 是形容风景优美的。再看到单字 geography， 它表示地形啊、地貌或者是地理学。Shane 老师则提到这个 inlet，inlet 它可以表达入口或是水湾的意思。好，那么以上是这个讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
As the most northern country in Europe, Norway, as well as its culture, is tied to the Arctic Ocean. During the 8th century, Norse sailors built settlements all over northern Europe. In fact, many Norwegians trace their history back to the Viking Age, AD 793 to 1066. According to tradition, Norway's first king was a Viking named Harald Fairhair, who unified the country in AD 872. However, for much of its history, Norway was not an independent nation. From 1536 to 1814, Denmark and Norway were a single kingdom. In 1814, control of Norway was passed to Sweden following a war. Later that year, Norway declared its independence on May 17th, but no foreign powers recognized Norwegian independence until 1905. Still, even today, Norway celebrates its National Day on May 17th. Norway's most beautiful sights owe much to the geography of the Arctic region. Norway's western coast is filled with impressive fjords left over from glaciers. The country's many mountains tower above brightly colored fishing villages. And when skies are clear, these features are lit up by the northern lights above.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephen.
I'm David.
We're going to play a game called Guess the Bear, where each of us has 3 words or phrases on these cards. We're going to read 2 sentence examples for each one. We're going to use the word bear instead of the actual word, and you have 1 minute to guess all 3. Do you want to guess first?
Sure.
All right, start the timer. This one is a verb, 1 word. Number 1, I didn't bear her after such a long time apart. Number 2, everyone should bear the signs of a heart attack.
I didn't kiss her?
Everyone should bear the signs of a heart attack.
Read the signs?
Okay, next one.
Get this-
All right, this is a noun, 1 word. He ruled over his bear with an iron fist. Number 2, this story takes place in a bear far, far away.
Takes place in
And a bear far, far away.
Takes place in the bear?
He ruled over his bear with an iron fist.
Oh God. Takes place in a place? Location?
Okay, next one. This is a verb, 1 word. The jewelry was bared back to its original owner. Jenna can bear her family tree to Europe.
Oh, I think I know this one. Trace back.
There you go. All right,
There we
number
go.
1. I didn't bear her after such a long time apart. Oh, okay, that's up. All right. The first one was recognize. All right, so I didn't recognize her after such a long time apart. And number 2, everyone should recognize the signs of a heart
makes
attack.
sense, yeah.
And the second one, the noun, was kingdom. He ruled over his kingdom with an iron fist. And this story takes place in a kingdom far, far away.
Okay, cool.
That was really hard to get. Okay.
That was really hard. Okay, ready?
All right, ready.
Your turn, ready?
Okay.
Go. All right. Adjective, 1 word. The book is about witches attending a bear school. The view from the top of the tower was bare.
The view from the top of the tower
Was bare.
Oh, and the first one was?
The book is about witches attending a bear school. A
4.
bear school.
Okay, next one.
Okay. Noun, 1 word. Every country has a unique bear and climate. She studied bear to learn about map making.
Weather.
No.
Climate. She studied what?
She studied bear to learn about map making.
Geology? Geography.
Yeah, there you
Okay,
go. This is
go.
good. This is done. Phrase, 3 words. The movie was long, bear, boring. My brother lived in Sweden. Bear, Spain.
My brother lives in Sweden, bear, Spain.
The movie was long, bear, boring.
But also,
Okay, so
what was that one?
as well as. The movie was long as well as boring.
Okay.
My brother lived in Sweden as well as Spain.
How can you live in 2 places?
I don't know, confusing, but
Okay.
back to the first one. The book is about witches attending a magical school. The view from the top of the tower was magical.
Okay. Yeah, okay. No.
These were extremely difficult.
These are difficult.
See you next time.